So now that you've taken each of your stories and split them into tasks, you're pretty much ready to do your first sprint. Your team has been talking around the table, everybody knows what each story contains, what has to be done to complete the feature or the story, and the team understands all of the tasks and what they're about. That's the goal of actually doing the planning. That is that not only you, one of the members of the team, understands the task and the story, but everybody in the team understands the task and the story. Now the cool thing here is if everybody knows, then even if I went home because I was ill, another guy could take over and grab that story and implement it for us. So that's the goal, that everybody understands what's going on the backlog right here. At least for the part that we're going to now pull in from the product backlog, which is this guy, into what we call the sprint backlog, which only focuses on the features we want to implement this sprint. So let's go into sprints. And since this is a total new solution for me, there are no backlogs here yet, sprints here yet. So I'll add my first one. I'll just call it sprint 1, and let's just say that will start today and it'll end next Friday. I add the sprint, and now it asks me, how many hours do you think are available? And let's say that I have another developer on my team, or maybe 4 developers. Let's do that, 4 developers, and they each are very, very busy, so they'll only have around 10 hours each. That means that I have 40 hours available of development time. So if I have exactly 40 hours available, that's what I'm writing here. It's important that you as a team consider its man hours, if that's the setup you decide to go for. If it's man hours, what if one guy is expected to go on vacation for the week that we're actually talking about? Well, then it's not 40 anymore, it's actually only 30 man hours we have available, because we just lost the 10 hours that the guy is going on vacation. Another guy has to go to the dentist a few days that week, so now we're down to 25 hours. It's so important that for this sprint you have to try and predict how many man hours do we actually have available for us. So I'll start the sprint here, and I have 25 hours available. So now it's pretty much just taking the tasks that are most important from the top. They should be estimated and they should be prioritized from the top down. So this is the most important task. Now the product owner wouldn't agree with you. Initial setup of front end and back end is not a user facing task, so why is that important? But as a developer team, you'll tell him it's important because if we don't do that, we can't create anything for you. We need to have the basic setup before we can even start working for developing some kind of UI for the user. And he'll of course say, well, then that makes sense. So let's pull in these 2 very important tasks. Stories. So now those are in place. We have 15 hours left. Create a car, that can also fit in here. So let's pull that over. Now I have like half an hour left. So I'm actually done. I can't put in more work here. The 0.3 hours left, that's kind of a buffer for me, meaning that if I'm way behind or way ahead, then maybe I have a bit extra time this sprint. We could do something else. I could pull this guy in here, but as you'll see, it'll actually start warning me that you've allocated more time than you actually have available. Now you can do some things. You can either say I'll cancel a vacation for a guy so that I can get the extra 10 hours I'm missing. I can just accept that I don't have more time than what I actually show up here. I can cancel the guy's dental appointment, but of course you don't want to do that. You want to try to estimate with the current resources I have available, what can I actually deliver after the sprint is over. But it gives you kind of an overview. After this sprint, I accept that I have the initial setup done, and I can actually show that as a user I can create a car to the system. So that's the goal of my first sprint. Now when I'm ready, when I feel that I'm done now, I have pulled in the information that I need to get going with the first sprint, I say start sprint, and in here I'll still select Friday for next week, and then I'll say start the sprint. And next video we'll look into actually using the task board.